Good morning and welcome back to Tabletop Tuesday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to continue our look at Hellboy the Board Game. Now, I know it's been a little while since we did our first video, but in this one, we are going to take a look at the next step in the game. Last time we talked about characters, dice, how basically how combat works, things like that. But this time we're going to start getting into the setup of the game and understanding a little bit more about how you're going to get started with your game of Hellboy. Now, before we get started, do make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few different videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content, and I'd love for you to come along and see what we have to offer. And if you do enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button and, let us know down in the comments. So, I know it's been a little while since we talked, but in this video, we are going to talk about setting up your first game of Hellboy. Now, obviously, you've got the instructions, and you can read through those, but some people are a little more visual, kind of like myself. So, the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to take out your case file. Now, these all come basically in a plastic booster pack, we're going to call it, even though it's clear. But pro tip, don't destroy this, okay? The case files, while there are spoilers, they are pre-organized for a story. You can reset them and play through them again. So you do want to open these in such a way that you can actually put the cards back in so that as you open additional case files, they don't get all mixed up. So just a pro tip as you're getting started. So in this case, we've got the first case file deck. So it says these decks of cards are case files. You should have 6 in the box. That's for the standard box. If you have the Kickstarter version, you may have more. If you've bought booster packs, you'll have more. There's more case files. So these are BPRD classified, so don't open them yet. Each case file is a different scenario you can play, and the first time you play it, it should be a surprise, so no peeking until the time is right. The game will tell you when to open them. This case file is the least complex and is used in the tutorial. We recommend you put the others back in the box. Maybe just forget they exist for now. So, I do like when companies take that and just put a little bit of fun into the case file. Now, one thing it will tell you, stop, this is the back of the case file deck. That is very important because you are not to flip a card or discard a card until it tells you to do so. Alright, so we have case file 126779, the eviction notice. Alright, frogs like snakes, scorpions, ravens, and black cats are traditionally considered harbingers of doom. This is borne out by folktales such as one from Africa, which sees a man's prayer for eternal life ruined by a frog who sees a bleak future for his own species should the man flourish. It's no coincidence, then, that the chief minions of the Ogdru Jahad are the frog monsters. These amphibian hybrids are able to shapeshift, taking the forms of men to further their never-ending quest to bring about the end of the world as we know it. One of our field teams has cornered a particularly large specimen in an underground crypt. Agents are to report to the scene and deal with this threat before it escapes. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take this deck and you're just going to set it right here on the HQ board. Now, if it ever tells you to put a card into play, then you're going to move it above the board here. If it ever tells you to discard it, you're going to take the card and move it over here. Now, if you ever need to look at a card more closely, read something off of it, they do advise that you pick up the entire deck. Okay, not just the card that you're looking at. Reason being, you can reveal information that is not supposed to be known yet. So, just keep that in mind. So we've already done this, so let's go ahead and flip it over. So this tells us now how we're going to set up the Deck of Doom. Now, Deck of Doom all have these, this back on it. And we're going to need a card for Hellboy because we're playing with him. And I forget his name. Abe Sapien. That's right. Wait. No, not Abe Sapien. Remember, folks, these videos are professionally done. All right. Johann Kraus. Okay. So, now because I usually will run this as demos or we'll have a full table, for each player that's available, you're going to add a card for them. Now, these are all marked by an icon for the particular player. But for this particular setup, for the intro, we're just going to use Hellboy and Johann. All right. So once you take those, you will then take all of the cards that are marked with the red symbol, the blue symbol, and the gray symbol. Now that is all, again, indicated right here. So you'll take all of these cards. As you can see, they all have that symbol. You'll shuffle them up. And you will place that on the board for the Deck of Doom. Next, our setup tells us to create the encounter deck, which, in this case, for 2 agents, one... Now, encounter decks are a small... Or the encounter cards are a small deck, so you're going to have different cards that you're going to select based on that. For the intro scenario, there are 3 cards marked with a white hexagon. And so those are actually the cards that you want. Now, with those, you're going to take those, shuffle them up, and for now, we will just set them right there. All right. Now, the next thing it's going to tell us to do is to set up the board. But we're going to hold off on that for a minute because infamously small work table. So please cut me a little bit of slack there. So for now, let's go ahead and, in this case, it says discard this card after placing encounter cards. So after you lay out the board, put out the encounter cards, you're then going to discard the card. So remember, when you discard it, you're going to put it to the left of the HQ board. All right, so now we have another card for setup. So we're going to put our Insight Tracker on the 0 slot, and we're going to put our Doom Tracker on the 1 slot. Okay, one other thing I did also forget to do early on. This is the priority tracker. Basically, this is who are the monsters going to attack first if they need to do so. So we're going to put Hellboy here and Johann in the 2nd slot. All right, so we then need additional insight markers. Now, I just keep them in a small baggie. You can use, however you decide to store them. And the insight markers are these little red ones with the BPRD logo on them. And it says, put an insight marker on spaces 2, 4, and 8. So, as you're traveling around the board, investigating clues, then you're going to be moving your insight tracker up. For each of these that you collect, you can get bonuses, during the final encounter. Now, it then says to put a reaction marker on this card and its matching trigger on the impending doom track. So, this is a reaction marker. It has a letter A through F, I believe, and a matching one in red. So, in this case, we will put the black one on the card, and since we are using 2 agents, we will put that on spot number 7. So if the impending doom track ever reaches spot number 7, you will then, or if all the agents are knocked out at the same time, you will then skip to the end phase and flip this card. But for now, we've put our marker on it, and so we're going to take this card and we are going to move it to our in-play area. So, make a little bit more room. So we're going to move that up here to the top. All right. Our next card says, move this card to the in-play area. If the agents take time, flip this card immediately after advancing the impending doom track. So we're just going to take this card immediately as it is, and we're going to move it in play. All right. So, finally, you head underground where you see obvious signs of frog monster infestation. Yeah, your target should be around here somewhere. Clear out its brood, and it'll have no choice but to show itself. Prepare the minion slots as follows. So, the minion slots... Alright, we're going to move these cards out of our in-play area. We're going to slide the board back up so that you can see it. So, we're then going to take our minion cards. So, showed these last time. And set that to the side. Alright, so Minion A is a rampaging frog monster. So you'll notice A, B, C, and D. So you're going to lay out your minions. A, B, C, and D. Alright. That'll be important here in a couple of minutes when I show you the board setup. So, if all rooms have been explored and there are no minions on the board in the end phase, flip this card and begin the first round. So, that's everything that we're going to do with the HQ board. Now, this is going to sit in the middle of the table near everyone so that they can kind of see and reference it as you are playing along. So, now let's backtrack a little bit and we're going to look at the actual board setup. All right, so I'm going to need my encounter cards and I'm going to need my setup card. Everything else I will set to the side because, let's be honest, there's not enough room. All right, so on our card, we have a map of how the play area is going to be set up. So as you can see, we have one large room, 2 medium rooms, a small room, and we also have 3 door icons. Now, this is your starting area. So that's where you're going to put your miniatures in order to start the game. So let's go ahead and set up our board. So we will start with the large room. Now, you'll notice there's a lightly shaded line by, cutting that into quadrants. This one cutting it in half. This one cutting it in half. And this one is a room unto itself. So we're going to take a door. Doesn't have to be lined up perfectly. Just anywhere where you can see where the door is. All right, and then you are going to take your miniatures and you're going to put them in the starting area. You're then going to take your encounter cards, shuffle them up, and you're going to place them face down on the board. Okay? You're not going to look at what they say because obviously it's supposed to be a surprise once you open the door and see what's in. So that's everything that you need to do to set up a game of Hellboy. One thing that I do like about this is even though the scenarios are pre-written, they actually are replayable. Obviously, there's going to be some spoilers. You're going to know in this case that you're looking for a giant frog monster. Maybe you'll have some ideas on how he plays. But let's be honest, with most games, you kind of run into those situations. But maybe you can try it with different heroes. Maybe you can use variety of swap out some of the different minions. There are plenty of different ways that you can change this up to have a slightly different experience, but playing through the scenario. So overall, I really like it. The setup is very easy. It does add to that mystery, does add to that dynamic of what's through the door, what's coming next. And honestly, I really do like it. So next time, we'll actually play through a couple of rounds of the game. We'll show how you actually reveal the encounter cards and how you move around, do investigation, do different things. And then I will give my final thoughts. But I do appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. And like I said, subscribe to the channel for more tabletop gaming content. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.